I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden, and today I have Kristin Pearson with me as my expert guest. Kristin, welcome to my show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I love what Kristin is doing. She is an expert web designer, and she works with coaches and consultants. That's really her main business. And so I knew, obviously, I had to have her on here to share her expertise and her wisdom. But she has a really cool background that just fascinated me. She worked for NASCAR, so that's pretty cool, right? Kristin, why don't you just tell everyone sort of your backstory and what got you into what you're doing today, and just share your expertise.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me. I am super pumped to be here. My backstory starts, I feel like it's a funny thing to say now, but it starts back when MySpace was a big deal and I was in grade school. I was obsessed with making everything pretty, and I accidentally taught myself how to code through that. So then when I was choosing a college major, I knew I wanted to go into something creative. I loved computers, and a counselor was like, try web design. And I was like, well, okay. And so I went in, I got a whole degree in it. And then, like you said, I thought I wanted to go into a sports graphic design, worked for NASCAR for an internship, and just realized that I think I'd prefer to enjoy sports and use it as entertainment than want to work at all. And The other thing was the office kind of space was a lot more corporate than I expected. And it was like everybody kind of had their lane and you were expected to stay in it. And that just wasn't an environment that worked for me because I have a million ideas at all times.
You're a creative. I
am a creative, right?
Yes, and you can't work in that.
The cubicle thing and just having like a couple of responsibilities just wasn't what was, I wasn't thriving in that. And so after my internship, which I loved, I found just the most incredible opportunity with a nonprofit, and it was celebrated that I had a ton of ideas. And so they hired me as their graphic and web designer. And then it turned into, I was doing sales and I was traveling the country and meeting with a bunch of people, and it was super fun. And I was there, total for 7.5 years. But throughout that, what was really fun and what got me to where I am now is we held a lot of events throughout the year. And so we were hiring speakers like coaches and consultants to come in and train our members. And I just found that those were the best people to hang out with. They were some of my favorite people that I got connected with. And we had all these events, and it would always be like we were responsible for finding the speakers. And I remember there was one, and I thought he'd be perfect. He was just everything we were looking for. And I had met him on like a LinkedIn thing and stuff. And so I mentioned his name in a meeting, and what everybody did immediately is what you would think of right away is they Googled his name. They went to his website, and unfortunately, and I see this a lot, it looked more like an obituary than it did a marketing piece.
And we're going to dive into this for sure. Yes.
And it was just like one photo, whatever, we'll get into that. But it didn't serve him at the level that I knew he was. Like, I knew he was such a better speaker. And, a couple of years later, I realized like, I can solve this problem. So the side business that I had started was all because my then boyfriend and I were talking about getting married, buying a house. And I just wanted to bring in some more money so we could fast track that a little bit, and started doing websites on the side. And it just grew into something that I just loved so much. I ended up leaving my job after 7.5 years to do this full time. So now I work with coaches, speakers, consultants, and any expert to make sure that they're kind of, shown as such online.
Oh, that's such a great story. And I love too, how you really identified the gap. And yes, coaches and consultants are fun people. We're awesome. We're fun.
If anybody can't tell already, I very much value communication and talking and everything. And coaches love to do that too. So we really get along well.
No, I really do like how you really found that, gap, and you said there's a need here, and I need to serve in this way. But all of that experience and expertise and everything that you had built up to be able to put that into something, you're working for yourself, making more money, all the things that you talked about. And now she is married, because we did have that conversation.
I am married in a house
that boyfriend that you were talking about.
This is, yes. Okay. We've been together for like 7 years now. So,
yes. Okay.
Yes, married for 2.5 months.
Well, I love it. And I looked at some of her work, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And she definitely knows what she's doing. She is a true pro, a true expert. We only have experts on the show. So yes,
I'm honored.
Well, we're happy to have you here. So I want to dive into some of the things around web design. And you brought up a really good point. The speaker, did he miss that opportunity? He did.
We never ended up hiring him. I still am connected with him on LinkedIn, so I've been following his journey. And he did get his website redone recently, and I was so proud of him. I even sent him a message. But
he could have been your first client, Kristin.
He could have. He really could have. But it was back when we were connected. I didn't even know being an entrepreneur in my early 30s was going to be a possibility. I thought my path was going to be working for different companies, learning a lot more, and then maybe later go for it. And I just, everything lined up when it did. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. So by that time, he had already gotten, his new website. So I'm proud of him.
But I think it's a really important thing. And I talk all the time about, building up your brand and having strong positioning, and people Google you. And even for speakers these days, they will Google you. Sure, you can send them a one sheet. Sure, you can send them a speaker reel, but they are going to Google you, and they're going to see what you're all about.
Yeah.
And so that website is a huge piece of that. And I know when we got on the first call to kind of talk about what we were going to talk about on the show, we talked about a lot of coaches and consultants are out there telling other coaches they don't need a website, or it's just the craziest thing. And we had that conversation because I see that advice given out there in the industry. And first of all, I've built a lot of businesses, and I've never seen a true business without a website. I'm just going to say that. To me, they don't look like a business if they don't have that. And so we talked about that. And so I would like to dive into that just a little bit, because if you're going to be seen as the specialist, as the expert, as a real pro, as a real business, this is a must. You don't need it necessarily like to get your first client. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But you have to have a website, especially if you're working in corporate, or you're working with businesses, or you're working with professionals. That website is going to be such a valuable asset to you. And you can host a lot of things on there too. So
you can host so many things, and your business can grow so much with your website. But to go back to the social media and like the corporate world, if you are going to make a big deal with somebody, like something that could maybe pay, all your bills for a year or even more, if you're going to put that much value on your work, the last thing you want to do is go to a board meeting and say, check out this person's Facebook page or their Instagram.
Or their Instagram.
Yeah. It's like, and if somebody isn't going to invest in themselves, I mean, how are they going to invest in you? And are they even real? It's so easy to fake an online persona at this point. Like we've all just been in on our computers for so long that it's just like, how can someone trust you? And I truly believe that, your website is the foundation, because then everything else is great. That's good to have, like, keep growing, but it all should come back to at least your home base of what you are and, where you can host all of that information.
Yeah. And it really is a hub for your business. It's almost like if you were a brick and mortar business and people can walk through the door. Your website is really that, it has that kind of value.
Yeah.
It really is like your home, right?
Yeah. And you might start with a cart or, a food truck. And then eventually you're going to buy the brick and mortar like restaurant and go like bigger and all of that. And so it's the same way with a coaching or any business where you're seen as an expert. It's not as tangible in your hands.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And so you talked about you shared some of the tricks or some of the tips that you have for people so they look professional, so they show up with a website that's going to really build their brand, elevate their brand, and position them as a person that can demand a bit bigger fees. I mean, look, you can look budget like, okay, go to my Facebook page, right? Or you can look like I'm a real business, I'm a real professional here. What are some of the kind of the tips that you have for people with their website so it doesn't look like an obituary? And so it looks like you are alive and well and successful.
Yeah, I think as humans, we're all such visual creatures these days. And, it's we all like to say, don't judge a book by its cover, but we all judge books by their covers, we don't pick one up if it doesn't look great. And so I think photos are a great way to start this conversation of having professional headshots, having photos of you doing the thing that you do, whether it's speaking or coaching or, working one-on-one, whatever it is in your expert business that you're doing. It's so important that you have visual representation of that. And it's not, just a headshot, because you could have had that headshot from a corporate job. That could be just the picture that you brought over. And it's not really telling the story about what you do, who you help. And it's not building trust with everybody. Like that trust is kind of the biggest thing about a website that I think sometimes gets overlooked, because people want to tell their story. They want to display their offers, but at the end of the day, they need to trust you first. And so photos are huge for that. And having, no selfies or anything like from your phone, like having someone having taken professional photos of you is super great. And a designer will love you so much for those. And also with the trust thing, testimonials are really important.
Yes.
And, getting good testimonials and putting them throughout your page where it makes sense is kind of a big thing. I know a lot of people have like a case studies page or praise, or it'll just say testimonials on the menu, and that's okay. But I also really like to take good testimonials and sprinkle them throughout. So if someone's reading about a very specific program, having a testimonial that mentions that program next to it just builds so much more credibility. And it's going to get you so much further with the person that's reading. So good photos help with trust, testimonials help with trust. So that's kind of the big thing about that part of it. Something else your website needs to do is we all have a lot of different devices these days. And I looked this morning, and every study is a little bit different, but one I saw this morning was 60% of browsing is now on your phone. So if your website doesn't look good on a phone, you're missing out on so much potential leads or readers or whatever it is that you're looking for. It's something that everything has to have now.
Right.
And like, not just phone, we need to think about different screen sizes and everything. Like when I was growing up, every screen size was basically the same.
Right.
There wasn't much variation, but like I'm using a giant screen right now. Some people might be using just a tablet, some just their phone. And your website needs to work with all of those things, and like pictures will shift. And then all of a sudden it's like not what you wanted the picture to look like and everything based on what screen size. So that's something to test for sure. And to just make sure that it looks good for everybody. That's another one.
No, those are really great points. And also why it's hard to do these things for yourself when you are not an expert at doing it, because these are all the little nuances that someone who truly knows what they're doing. And even if I knew how to do a website, I'm not sure I would know how to change structure things so that it would work across all different types of size screens and all that kind of thing. So that is that's a really important thing to understand. So I love that. What are some of the challenges that you see with coaches and consultants, when they're thinking about doing a website or let's talk about that a little bit.
I think my main challenge that I get immediately is, why can't I just go to Fiverr and get a $300 website design? Why go with you?
Yes, we want to talk about this.
Yeah. So, and I think with coaches, it's really easy to explain. And I feel like I just have to frame it in a way that makes sense. But a person from Fiverr, the website that you're going to get is a template. They might not even care about your content. They might not even put your content in the website. You might have to do that later. So that's
they probably don't even speak
mostly
your language, which is another barrier. That's a big barrier.
So there's that. So you're getting a cookie cutter template that probably hundreds of other people have. So you're not setting yourself apart in any way. For that template might not be up to date standards. Okay. More than just design standards, but terms and conditions, cookies, privacy policy, all those things.
The security type.
The security part to protect to protect your client's information, but also your business. Yes. It's a huge thing now. I know anybody that is in the US that works with someone from Europe, you're supposed to have that cookies thing at the bottom of your page. That's a big deal. And they're cracking down on larger websites, but I can expect it to start trickling down to maybe smaller businesses now, because there's a lot of lawsuits and people are winning a lot of money just because they don't have, their clients' information protected. So that's something that you're not going to get for $300.
Right.
Probably not going to have any search engine optimization built into your website. So you want to be able to be found on Google. You want your website to do business for you. Right. And so that's not going to be built in. And then
can I stop you for just a
minute? Absolutely.
So do you do the SEO piece of it as well when you build a website?
I do basic SEO. So what I'll do is I submit the websites to Google so it can be found. There's things called crawlers that Google has, and basically it'll go through your website and look at everything and try to get a good feel of what you do. So I submit that and make sure that that's always live. There's also different structural things that you need to do on your website for that to be found. So I adhere to the structure that pleases Google. And that's your headings, your text, it's all built into the code-ish.
Yes.
That's all in there. And then your photos, having alt tags is really great. And this is just to round up my last list that I was saying. Accessibility is really big to me as well. So somebody that maybe has visual impairments, they need different plugins or different things on your website so that they can consume your content too. And I build that all in. So it's not even a thought that you would have, but that's all in there. And then that goes back to SEO as well, because Google or other search engines also read through all of that to try to just get a better feel of what you do so they can push you out to the right people.
Right. Okay. That's really great information. And those are things too. A lot of people, even when you were talking about the disability thing, I didn't know about that. I wouldn't have thought about that. Right. And so these are all the types of things that a professional is going to know and is going to think about and is going to make sure that you have compliance and all of those things. But someone from Fiverr or Upwork or wherever is not going to, they're not going to do all of that.
And then what sets me different from a Fiverr person is they're not going to give you the time of day. They're not going to give you a custom approach.
You're trying to do everything through a message box.
Yeah. And you're trying to communicate with someone that is probably sleeping when you're usually awake. There's just so many different struggles about it. And I'm in the Midwest, so I'm probably awake when people in America are awake. But I really have a more custom approach. I want to get to know your business so that whenever I'm creating it, it makes sense. If I'm working with somebody that's brand new, their website is going to be a little bit different than someone who's been in the game for 20 years.
Sure.
Just because they have different things that they offer or even can highlight. They might not have the big client list to show off, but they might have a really good testimonial. It's just, it's kind of just moving things around. So you're getting a custom approach with me. All of my websites are very different. And I like to think that because I just have so many ideas. So I love this part of it. That's why I don't do templates currently, because it's just fun for me to be able to start a new masterpiece with each person.
Oh, I love that. Did you hear what she just said? A masterpiece. And really, when you think about this being the foundation for your business, gosh, that just adds so much value to your business. And if you think about even making the investment, for example, $300, if you have a $300 website, it's going to look like a $300 website. But if you invest in a professional website and you are trying to get those bigger deals, those bigger clients, those bigger jobs, those speaking engagements, I mean, what is one of those worth to you? It's going to pay for the website, right? It's going to cover that. However, you mentioned the speaker that didn't get the speaking engagement because his website looked like an obituary. But I think, I talk about missed opportunity all the time when people aren't positioned well and they don't have their brand dialed in and they don't have these things in place. They really do miss opportunities. They miss out on money in their business and growth in their business because they think they can do things cheap. They think they can do things, inexpensive. And at the end of the day, you're going to pay for it one way or the other. That's what I always say.
Yeah. And you're probably going to need a new website within a year. Like mine, I try to build mine as sustainable as possible. So you don't have to come back to me for another 3 to 5 years until you have something really new for your business, and you can grow off of my websites as well. I have one client that we had already wrapped up her project a while ago, and now I'm building in a course platform into her website. So it's all in-house. She doesn't have to pay for a subscription for all, a different place and send her clients to a whole nother location. It's all going to be built on her website. So there's a whole membership aspect to it. And it's just the foundation of a growing business. And so I love that. The premium experience is going to get premium clients.
I want to ask you something about that too. So it's my understanding that when you house all of that on a website, it really slows it down. It really slows down the speed, and Google doesn't like that. So it doesn't make it searchable. Is there truth to that? Has that changed? I mean, I heard that a long time ago. So I have
there can be truth to that for sure, because generally with those, there's so many files and videos that go along. Right. That's what I was told. If you're shooting your video and you upload it and all of that, and then all of a sudden your website's going slower, so Google doesn't like it, and it's just the trickle effect of bad. That can definitely happen. But I mean, that's why you're working with a designer. Is I'm resizing everything you send me so that it fits right, so that your website's as fast as possible. And there's if you're having a ton of courses, maybe it might be something that we build it on another website. So it's just that, but it all comes down to your hosting, which is more back-end stuff. But I use premium hosting, and my clients are on mine. So then I can kind of manage it and everything. So I can see if something is going slower. Usually I get notifications, and then I find out that they've been uploading a bunch of pictures and writing blog posts and putting huge videos on it. And so I'll just go in and resize them for them.
I love it. So when you build a website for someone, Kristin, do you still do back-end work for them, ongoing?
I can.
So they are supported with anything new that they want to do or change. And how do you do that in your business? Do you charge by the hour? Do you charge, a package? How do you do that?
Yeah. So whenever I work with a client, once I send them off, we go live with their website, they get 2 months of my maintenance. So a website care plan. And that'll be if they have updates to the content, they can send it to me just via a support ticket, and I'll just go in and change it for them. Or, I always try to teach my clients as well of how to use it. But so that's for editing. All of my maintenance clients get an hour of my time every month of editing. So it's just if you want to change pictures, add stuff, whatever. But then the back end things, they're also getting that for the first couple months because I want them to see it. So I'm managing their analytics, their site speed. There's daily backups in case you are in your website and you do something and it all crashes. You just send me a text message and I'll just reset it and you'll be all set. So I do that. It's on a monthly basis. It's like a package price. Okay. And so it's not hourly. I feel like it just doesn't work out that way. It's not as seamless, but yeah. So 1 month it gives you, or by month by month, it gives you hosting, backups, me making sure your website's online at all times, resizing all of your stuff and everything.
Great. Yeah. I know that's always going to be a question too people have is, well, how do I do it? Once she builds it, once, I have this beautiful website, then what?
Yeah. So, and I record videos too. So each of my clients, I record videos and I create them an entire page on my website of how to edit things. So I'll go into your website and show you how to edit things so that you're not waiting for me, to make a small change. Like if you change the title of a program, I don't want you to have to wait. I want you to feel empowered to make that change yourself. It's your business, it's your website. So
that can be very frustrating to wait.
It can. And it's just, that doesn't help anybody's schedule. It doesn't help mine or theirs. So I like to empower people to be able to make those edits. And then I'm there in your corner to help you out with anything else. Or if you just don't want to do it. I do have clients that are would prefer to send me an email, and that's great.
Right. Well, and two, even if you have a VA or an assistant or somebody that is helping you in your business, if you've got the videos and things available, then they can be taught how to do it. So it doesn't mean you have to do it yourself, but you can teach a team member to do it as well. Yeah. So I love it. All right. What else would you like to share about websites, about design, about even anything that would help coaches and consultants when they're thinking about doing something like this? What would you like to share?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for hiring a designer, I would say definitely look at their portfolio, look at the work that they've done, but then make sure that they're going to get on a call with you. Make sure, or a Zoom, even better, because you want to have that personal connection. Sure. It's something you want to make sure you get along with and you vibe with the person that's going to be in charge of this really important aspect of your business. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to connect with people personally, and don't feel like you have to hire someone without even seeing them. A lot of us web designers were, some people are known to be, they don't want to communicate, or people think that techie, people don't like human contact, but I'd like you to know that we do. There's some of us that value that experience. So if you do look for somebody that's a designer, maybe think about a specialist, think about their communication styles. Those are just things to consider. I love to work with the people that I work with, because I can be selective too. I want to work with people that want to change the lives of others for the better. Right. That's important to me. I want to work with people that are doing the good work out there. And so that's why I don't work with forklift repairmen like I used to. It's just, it doesn't serve, it doesn't make my heart happy. So just find someone that works well with you.
I love it. And she did share with me that she really does only take a couple of clients at a time. That's just how she has decided she wants to build her business and what she really loves. And I think she shared because she really wants to give the experience, and she wants that site to have a lot of time and effort and thought and care put into it. And obviously you're just one person, right? And so,
right. Yeah. I'm a one-woman show. And I do.
But we did talk about that. I'm a business consultant and coach. So we did discuss that.
I feel like you're going to tell me to get a VA soon, but everyone says hustle hard and don't sleep. And I'm like, I'm on my relaxing and resting point in my life. I just got done with the wedding. I'm just chilling out right now. But I do only work with a couple people because I do want to have multiple touch points. And I don't want somebody that's working with me to send me an email and I don't respond to you for a week or something, and then you just feel lost. So I only have a couple people at a time. And I really like how it's going. I think people are really happy. I love hearing people's good stories about their website and stuff. So it's just really working for me. So
yeah. Well, I always say we have to build a business that we're going to love, and that, you still want to make money, you still want to do well, and you want to be sustainable. But at the end of the day, you're doing an awful lot of work there. So if you don't love it and you don't love the people you're working for, you're not going to want to do it very long. So I love this. Great conversation. So I know that you have probably something that you want to offer my audience. Do you what would you like to share with them? Kristin?
Sure. So I made a whole page for your listeners very specifically. So on there, they can go, it's just kristinpearson.com/expert.
Okay.
And they can schedule a time for a quick consult with me if you want to jump on the phone. Then there's also an offer for like an audit. So I can go through people's websites. I'll record like a 20-minute video, really going through your website, what I would change, maybe what I would suggest. Mm-hmm. And then you can take that and use it for, your own personal uses, or we can, go on to then work together. But there's that. And then there's also a photo guide. Yeah, I like to harp on the fact that photos are very important for a website. So there's a free download for like a photo and brand shoot guide. And just so you can hand it to your photographer and say, these are the shots I need. And then they will, be able to just like kind of reenact those photos in a way that's authentic to you. And this is just all from like a designer's point of view, of course, because I want the good photos to use to design. But it's also, I used to be the audience or the main client for a lot of coaches and speakers. Like I used to be the people to hire them. So that's why I'm bringing that experience to them. Like these are the photos that I would want to see in order to trust somebody.
Very nice. Those are really important points as well. And I love that you're giving and sharing that expertise through some downloads and things that you're going to give my listeners. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Amazing. I really vibed with Kristin at the very beginning. I just loved her energy, and I looked at the things she was doing out there, and you can clearly see that her brand is stand out, and you can clearly see that she is excellent at what she does. So it was really fun to have you on here, Kristin.
Yeah, I had a blast. I'm really happy we got to do this.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. I know you're going to get a lot of value from the show. We'll put her links with the show notes so that you can go get those free resources and tools that she has given. And if you've been thinking about getting a new website, or it's time for a new website, definitely reach out to her and let her share her expertise and do that audit and kind of show you where she can go with your brand and with all of that for you. So, I'm actually looking at your backdrop there. And I know we talked about that being sort of part of my brand colors. So the light blue and the teal. And it does kind of almost look like this, but I actually had a different color shirt that was exactly that color. And I had forgot that was your background. I'm really glad I didn't wear that. Although this is pretty close now that I look at it, but
I feel like it could have been really cool. We could have been really,
It could have been. It's funny how sometimes I have shown up on my podcast with somebody and it's like, I'm not even wearing my brand colors and I'm wearing, their brand colors. And it's like, okay, yes, I got your email.
I know. And I tend to just gravitate towards things that are teal. And so my husband makes fun of me all the time because he's like, oh, there's your color. Every time we go out somewhere and he sees it, everything I own is teal. And it's not like, it wasn't a business thing. It was just, I just love this color. It makes me happy.
It is such a pretty color.
There's a whole wall in my office that is the same color, like painted. Yeah. So it's just, I just love it. I don't know.
Yeah, we do tend to gravitate towards certain colors for sure. So that's how I am really about the bright blue. But I love the teal color too. So I just had to point that out as I was looking at the colors there. We're digressing here, Kristin.
It makes my heart so happy to talk about colors. That's fine.
I love it.
I talk about colors with my clients all the time too. Some people come without branding, and so I'll make them a logo, and we'll discuss colors and everything, and I'll suggest some things. So I love colors. The color theory is super interesting to me. I don't think. I don't know all that there is to know, but I do just find it very fascinating.
It is fascinating to see how people resonate with colors, and how different colors give a different image of
make you feel different things or think about different memories.
I hear show number 2. Yeah.
I'll come back in a couple months and we'll talk colors.
I can hear we're going to have another podcast. So one thing I love about these podcasts, they are not scripted, as you can tell. We just let the conversation flow. So this was so fun. You can see how personable she is and how much fun you'll have working with her. So Kristin, thank you again so much. This has been such a pleasure having you on, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ann. This has been a blast.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode. Please make sure you like the episode, share it, leave your comments, leave your feedback. We check all the messages and the comments, and make sure you subscribe to Expert in You podcast and hit the notification, because every week we release a new episode. So thank you all so much. God bless you. Have an amazing day. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to go check out a free training that I have at expertinu.us. It is a training that I have on how you can get ultra premium dream clients, scale your business, get more freedom, and really simplify your business and multiply your money. So go check that out. And again, that is expertinu.us. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I hope you found massive value. Please always leave a comment, feedback, or a question. We check them all. And I want you to go rock your business, and make sure you join us again next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.